Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris and welcome to the Heart of the Home. Today we're going to be making a slow cooker recipe, and then those of you in the know that I really love slow cooking, and I have a book out called The Southern Slow Cooker if you would like to purchase it. This recipe is actually not in the book, but there's a very similar one, and this is a classic slow cooker recipe where you get out your dried beans and you make something really hearty and comforting and delicious, and I absolutely love this recipe, and it's really, really simple. Very minimal prep work up front. So to start, I've got some white beans in here. Now you can use navy beans or cannellini beans if you like, and they have been soaked overnight, and that's a step that I like to do. It speeds up the cooking process. For certain beans, you need to do that for safety reasons. Like red beans, you should definitely soak overnight because they have certain enzymes in them that you want to soak out. Meanwhile, I'm going to start adding some aromatics, and I'm basically going to add what's called a mirepoix, which is a combination of onion and celery and carrot. And I'm just going to dice some onion up here. And this is about a cup of onion or so. And I'm going to dice the other side, or actually more of a chop. You don't want to chop it up too finely because this is going to cook a really long time. Beans, especially for those of you who have slow cooked beans before, can take anywhere of 10 to 11, 12 hours depending. So if you have vegetables in there, they're going to cook and cook and cook and cook, and if they're at a really small dice, they can almost cook to the point of disappearing, and you don't necessarily want that. All right, so I'm just doing a rough chop on these. I'm going to add these in. And what I've got here, and I've already chopped these up for the sake of brevity, is I have about a half cup or so of chopped celery. And I really like the flavor of celery here, and again, it's part of that mirepoix. And then I've got some carrots that are chopped up as well, and it makes a really nice flavor, but most importantly, it gives it a nice color. Otherwise, you just kind of have these beans that are kind of sitting out there colorless and lonely. At any rate, I've got some diced ham, some diced Virginia ham. This is just some sweet ham, like some honey ham. This is a really wonderful recipe if you've done some holiday entertaining or some Easter entertaining and you have a leftover ham bone. In this case, we're going to be using a ham hock. And I really like the ham hock. The meatier the ham hock, the better. And of course, this is Virginia pork, which we are known for. And I'm just going to nestle that in there. Now I've got some diced garlic, finely minced or diced. And what I'm going to add next is a little bit of some bay leaves. These are just dried bay leaves. I've got I'd say probably 2 bay leaves, up to you. I really like to put bay leaves in slow cooker recipes because they hold up well. And I'm also going to add some fresh sage, about a tablespoon. And I'm just going to go ahead and just chop this up very loosely. When you're chopping herbs, the easiest way to chop fresh herbs is to make them in a little ball like I just did. And then they chop up real nicely and quickly instead of trying to chop them up. Laying flat on a surface, it takes forever and they don't chop up as evenly that way. You could use dried sage for this as well. All right. Finally, because I like cayenne pepper, I'm just going to do a little bit of cayenne in there. Possibly adding more later. And then I've got some nice paprika, and this is a sweet Hungarian paprika. I'll do about a 1/4 teaspoon or so, and this creates a really pretty color, but it's also a really nice flavor as well. One thing you want to remember when slow cooking is that whatever herbs and spices you put in there up front, after 10 hours are going to be highly diluted. So as you see, I didn't add any salt or pepper to this. I'm just going to kind of let it go and do its thing. Salt and pepper tends to just cook out, and the flavor cooks out, and you'll have to add more later on anyway. So just go ahead and cook and see what you have. Now what I'm going to do now is add some water, and it really is just enough to cover by about a 1/2 inch or so. That's about right. And don't worry if your ham hock is exposed here. It will continue to cook. I'm just going to mix this around. Excellent. And this is done. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and cover this, and I'm going to cook it anywhere from, depending on how hot your slow cooker runs, it could be 8 to 10 hours, it could be 10 to 12 hours. So I would set it for 8 and then come back and then test your beans for doneness. Don't open it if you can avoid it. It will extend 20 minutes. Every time you open it, it adds another 20 minutes cooking time, so you want to try to avoid that. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in and let it go, and then I'll show you what to do when we're finished. We'll be right back. Okay, so it's been about 9 hours or so, and the beans are done, and they look really, really, really nice. They're nice and creamy, and what I've done is I took the back of a fork and just mashed some up against the side. You don't have to do that. I just like a creamier texture for my beans, and that's just a personal preference. And so now I'm just going to add a little bit of salt, a couple spins of the pepper. And this is at the point where you would want to taste and see if you need to add more seasonings. Do keep in mind that as anything cooks in the slow cooker, it waters down and flavors water down, so you probably will have to add back at some point. Now what I've also done is I've removed that ham hock. And you can see it's literally just falling off the bone. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and discard the bones. And I'm going to salvage whatever meat I can off of it. You don't want to throw anything out, not where I come from. And then you've got the skin and the fat and all of that, and that can just go ahead and go in the trash. And you have a few little pieces that you can salvage. And what I'm going to do is just chop these up and add them back. You can cook it a few minutes longer, but this is already cooked. You don't need to necessarily do that. Depending on your ham hock or whatever type of seasoning meat you're using, you might have a lot of meat. So be prepared. Some ham hocks are meatier than others. So I'm just going to chop this up. And see, that's a nice little bit of ham right there. Excellent. And I'm just going to swirl that in. There you go. And now I'm going to go ahead and just plate this. This is such a great meal, wonderful with cornbread or spoon bread or something really good like that. And I'm just going to garnish this with a little bit of fresh minced sage for color. You could add a little parsley on top, a couple spins of the black pepper, or maybe some cayenne pepper if you like that, and hot sauce, really good. Also, Parmesan cheese is really good on this. I've tried it that way before. So here you have it. This is a slow cooker white bean and ham stew or soup, however you want to call it. And it's done in your slow cooker, easy peasy, feeds a lot of people, very hearty. It's all about winter. My name is Kendra Bailey Morris. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.